Good morning, good morning. Beyond hype today to finally get the E36 fixed. We had transmission issues at the track last time I took it out. We have like a pretty wicked leak somewhere at the, I think it's like the main seal in the transmission. And then I got a new clutch I'm putting in, and then she should be good, man. That's really all it needs. I've got a lot of ideas for the E36, some things I've wanted to do to it, and had some conversations with CES Motorsport, and I think we're just gonna go crazy, man. I think we're gonna go all in on the E36 and do some wild shit. Dude, I haven't driven this thing in weeks, but I'm so excited to drive it. I just love driving this car, man. This is the DKM clutch that we're doing. I got this from CES Motorsport, and this is like an OEM plus type clutch. They can just handle a little bit more horsepower, but it feels closer to OEM, so I think it's going to be perfect for this build. So this is going to be the first of many visits to CES with this car, because we're going to do the transmission service right now to just get her up and running, so I can drive it a lot more. And then I have some new seats coming for the car, and then I'm redoing some stuff on the interior, and then we're going to talk a little bit about in this video the bigger plans for this car, because this car is going to be a monster. This car is going to be an absolute unit when I'm done with it, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it. We're going to do something pretty batshit crazy with it. I just freaking love this thing, man. Every time I see it, it's just so special and unique, and it's just such a cool car. First of all, good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. But if you guys remember when I first bought this car, it was like a hunk of junk. It was just basically on its way to the salvage yard. It was in really, really bad form. Basically, it was undrivable. And so we got it to a point where it's really good. Like, the car drives fantastic. You know, the whole new suspension that I put on it, everything that I changed on this car has made it much more enjoyable to drive at this point. But for what I want to do with it, you definitely need to cover more bases in order to make sure that it's set up at a point where it can handle more power and it can really be thrown around regularly without breaking down or something failing. And that's just because it's an older car. It's a 1996. I mean, it has a history of being tracked heavily, so this car has been through the paces. So my job from here on out is really to just replace the things that need replacing, and then upgrade the things that I think will take the most abuse. Kind of just like fix a lot of the things that needed to be fixed a long time ago but weren't addressed. So right now this car is obviously NA. It's not supercharged, it's not turbocharged. And I'll be honest, like when I originally bought it, I had zero intentions of doing anything like that. But I kind of want to make this thing rowdy. I kind of want to make this car pretty fast. Not like insanely fast, but like 450, 500 wheel horsepower fast, which in a car like this is fast. Like, it feels very, very fast because it's a smaller car, it's a lot lighter, and it's just much more lively. Like, even driving this car right now with only 200 and some horsepower, it's just so lively, it's so exciting to drive. So buying the new clutch that can handle more power, servicing the transmission, doing all that, you know, we already did like all the mounts and everything. These are all things that I'm doing to prepare for the next stage, which will be making a lot more power with this car. Even aside from having more power, I want this car to just be rowdy, noisy, and fun. Looked at all the options, whether I do supercharger or turbocharger, and I think we're gonna turbocharge this car, and we're gonna do a custom kit from CES, so it'll be like a nice big old single turbo. Not going crazy, not like 800 wheel, but a good like moderate 450 to 500 wheel horsepower in this car, which I think is gonna be a good sweet spot. And this thing is going to be insane at 450, 500 wheel horsepower. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Not like 100% decided, but I'm pretty much there. For the past few months, I've been trying to decide what to do with this car. I think that's the move. So it's gonna be really exciting to watch that build go down and then show you guys that whole process. Then obviously like dyno it, and then of course like driving the car for the first time and doing that. It'll be a lot of fun. And this car will be a little rocket, dude. Love an F80, right? And in white. Looks good, bro. Thing looks sick. Man, that thing's fast. They got big ass intercooler on it. So sick. Can't wait. That'll be me someday. No, this is not a real lightweight. I know I got a lot of you guys asking if this is a real lightweight. No, it's not. But looks nice. This thing's sick too, 4-door. So I really want to buy another E36, and I want to buy a 4-door. And I want to just like keep it pretty much stock, just like a really good example of a stock E36, and just drive it. I almost bought a British racing green E36 M3. See, those are nicer Sparco seats. Those are a little more comfortable.
Yeah, these are older ones though.
I want to buy a 4-door and just own it and just have like a clean, like stock E36 M3. Go boys, good job. You guys are killing it. So that's how you can tell it's a cheap lightweight wing. You see how it bows down in the center? You see that?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. So when I first got my LTW, I got one off of eBay. And the way to tell if it's like an eBay one, yeah, you see how it like bows down in the center? There's like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell. There you go, you can tell right there. So it bows down pretty gnarly. But then if you look at, and you can even see like the texture in it too, it's got like a weird texture to it. But then if you look at mine, nada. Things like a tabletop. So that's how you can tell. The one that I bought on eBay was like $300 or something like that. This one is made by Mashaw. It's handmade in California. And that one was like $800 or $900. But getting the real one is so worth it, man. Compared to getting like a rep like that. Like these ones are made, the quality is so much better on these ones for all you E36 guys. So this guy's got a rep one too. So you can like see the cheaper ones just tend to like bow down in the center. In my opinion, if you're gonna do it, it makes sense to spend the extra money on it. I mean, I guess it depends on like what the build is for, but this thing's actually pretty wicked too. I think he blew the motor though. They had to pull the engine on it. Sure does.
Crazy. I don't mind sharing.
These are the OEM mounts I have if you want them.
Yeah, I do want them.
I've got the OEM nuts there. So.
Yeah, we'll use these. OEM trans mounts. Going back to OEM, these poly ones are just no bueno. We got Zach helping us out today. And we're just kind of taking a look at things under here. It's always been pretty wet underneath the E36, but we know exactly why the trans is leaking. The shift shaft seal.
So if you see where the actual shifter mechanism,
yeah, where it connects.
Yeah, it goes into the
It's
transmission.
like right up
There's
there.
a little seal in there.
Right there.
I mean, it's something.
Yeah, you can actually see like right where it's coming out of.
Oh yeah.
And then it's just leaking all over here. So that is what was leaking so bad that it ended up smoking on the exhaust and black flagging me on the track. So that is the culprit right there. And I don't think that these mounts helped. I think that these super firm mounts probably did not help.
They
with all
create a
that.
lot of vibration.
Yeah, they create a ton of vibration.
They make you feel like there's something broken in your
Yeah,
transmission.
dude, seriously. Seriously. And then the oil pan is leaking the gasket. So we'll end up redoing that at some point. Today we're just gonna handle all the clutch stuff with the transmission. And then I talked to the guys over here. John is gonna get me a Nick G tune. So we're gonna have a tune set up in the near future, as well as the M50 manifold. So we can swap that on. So we'll make some pretty decent power. And just have a little more fun with the car, just being in like stock form. And then from there, we are going to be talking about the turbo kit that we're gonna do on the car. So they do all kinds of different like power levels on these turbo kits here at CES Motorsport, all custom done, custom fabricated, custom manifolds and all that stuff. You can really pick like how much power you want to get out of the car. Mine is gonna be relatively conservative with like 400 to 500 horsepower, but some of these are already making like 800-900 horsepower. So it just depends on what you wanna do with the car. I don't know if I don't know if I would run that much power on a stock motor. You'd have to build it if you went too crazy. But for 400 to 500 horsepower, we can run it on a stock motor and we'll be just fine. Let's just leave this off.
Be stupid loud. It would be unbearable.
These are bad. These are bad, aren't they?
No, that's what's reading that the fact that your cats are bad.
Oh, yeah. Cats. Yeah.
Your twos should be fine. No.
We don't want cats. We don't need those. We don't need cats. Remember, we did these poly ones not too long ago, and they're just way too stiff, in my opinion. Get the drive shaft out. It's gonna be so much better. This car's gonna drive so much better. Shifter rod seal, OEM trans mounts. So this is the upgraded steel pivot pin. Stainless clutch line from Beamer World. Shout out to Zach for giving me his. And then of course the clutch. This is the starter bolt. We think someone put a E14 and this is a E12 to try and get it off. So we're gonna replace this as well. Kind of going through this car, man, like bolt by bolt, just replacing everything. You have this in your car too, right?
I do.
So we ended up ordering a new rear main seal. Can't see it right now, but once we pull this off, you'll be able to see it because that's also a problem with these. They start to leak. So this is the twin disc.
Yep.
Nice.
You can see in there for that secondary. This you have your, so you got your primary and then you got your secondary disc. So that's mostly, so typically I'd have to check to see how this one was built, but usually what they'll do is they'll have two different materials on them. So you'll have kind of a daily driver and then you'll have the aggressive one.
Okay.
You'll have a nice long engagement point for it, so that way you're not dealing with stalling it out all the time or anything like that. That should be good for 850 torque.
Oh my God, 850. Yeah, I don't think we're anywhere near that, but
depends on the plates.
But it's great to know that if we wanted to go there, we could. You want to see some crazy shit? No, this isn't mine. This is not for my car, but bruh, like, oh my God. So here's the rear main seal that we just ordered a new one of, and you can see how it's starting to collect right here. So we're actually doing the oil pan later, but we're gonna be doing that next. That's what's basically the culprit of all the oil that's coming out from this engine. Shift shaft seal, that was the main culprit of what happened on the track, and with this thing just like spewing out trans fluid everywhere. But this is a big part of it too. So if you're already in here and you're replacing the clutch, you do that as well. Main seal that we're gonna be replacing. All right, so this is the shift shaft seal, and this is the culprit of what was leaking so badly on the transmission. All that trans fluid that was coming out, and the reason that it was hitting the exhaust, smoking, black flagged on the track, mostly 90-some% because of this little guy right here. And obviously there's probably other components that have attributed to this, but here's a new one, and then here's the other one just completely in pieces. So it should solve some of it. All right, we got ourselves an M50 manifold. So this will be next on the list. We're gonna do this, and then we have a Nick G tune that we're gonna be putting on the car, which will be exciting. We're gonna do that all in one video, I think. Look at that, look how pretty it is. Bye. See you later, bro. This guy's been out here cleaning this thing with a toothbrush. Wow, it's gonna be the cleanest thing on the car. Now we gotta do the whole motor like that. Dude, so, oh my God. That's insane.
So that was all
So
just
much
black.
cleaner. I know, yeah,
before.
it was caked.
So you can see how that's already been chewed up a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get a new stainless steel one. You can actually see the
It's
marks
like plastic, isn't it? The OEM one's plastic.
on it. OEM one is plastic. You can actually see where the marks where somebody's actually installed this. So this has been replaced before.
Yeah, well, we said the trans has definitely been out before. We've seen that.
Yeah. Although we did confirm it is the original trans for the car.
Yeah, same serial or same VIN.
VIN number, that's correct.
New throwout bearing, new fork, new pivot pin. Man, it's like
In the car.
completely servicing the trans. The trans is out of its acid bath. Should have done it before and after. I mean, you couldn't really see, well, you could sort of see it over there, but yeah, it looks a lot nicer.
That's true.
Look a lot nicer. Oop, just popped right on. Oh, it is plastic. So this gets replaced. So now we got a steel one.
That's correct.
And the OEM one is a little plastic guy. Trans is in. Sir. All right, got everything finished up. Gonna have to break in this clutch, but we're gonna put a little more oil in it. We just did all the trans fluid stuff, bolted everything back up, fixed up the exhaust a little bit, just kind of the hangers were off. So yeah, we're good, man. On Friday, I'm doing the track pipes from Beamer World, and I'm doing the oil pan gasket. The main two leaks, we solved one of them today, which was the transmission, and then the second one was the oil pan gasket. So once we do that, this thing is good, not gonna leak. There is a little power steering leak. We're gonna fix that with a new power steering reservoir from Chase Base. And yeah, dude, other than that, the underside is gonna be in really good condition. We are gonna do the control arms up front too soon with all the bushings and everything. Just checking for exhaust leaks. Seems like we have an exhaust leak, but it doesn't really matter because I ordered the track pipes. So we're just gonna take care of that once we get new track pipes. We gotta replace the serpentine belt too, smaller things, and then we'll get it solidified. What is up, guys? It is a new day. And the following day, we finished up late last night with everything. It's a little bit too dark to film, but I'm gonna wrap up this clutch video. This thing feels freaking so good. Look, if you're looking for a clutch, twin disc that can handle a little more power but doesn't feel so harsh. You know, some clutches just feel very, very harsh when you drive them, and they almost become like more difficult to just drive the car. You have to get used to it. This thing, it honestly feels very similar to OEM. It's just a little bit more bite and a little less travel for when it does bite. But man, does this car, just in general, feel so much better with everything that we did so far. So my one gripe about driving this car right now is just the noises that it makes. It's so loud with this rear seat delete, rattles all the time, and that's a big part of why I'm removing it. It's just not a very streetable setup. I'd rather have this car leaning on the side of street now than I would track. Track capable, but more street driven. So that's why I'm going to have the rear seats reupholstered. It'll be a little more like OEM Plus too. Have the rear seats reupholstered and then pull out this rear seat delete because it's just not very well made. Doesn't fit that well, makes a ton of noise. And I'll be really happy with it then. I am getting some different seats as well. I'm doing Recaros instead of these Sparcos. The Sparcos are okay, but they're just very aggressive. They get old after like an hour of driving, man. Like it just, your back starts to hurt. You're kind of like cupped in here a little too tight. They're great for the track. If all you're doing is like tracking the car, they're fantastic. But I think anything outside of that, it's just a little too much. But yeah, so the clutch feels really, really good in this car. If you guys have an E36 and you are going down the road of, you know, fixing up the trans or doing a trans service, I highly recommend checking out this DKM twin disc clutch. And look, if you wanted to make more power down the road, you're good too. It doesn't feel too aftermarket. It doesn't bite too hard. It's honestly like perfect. I got in the car and I was comfortable with the clutch right away. But I could tell just from driving the car home from the shop last night, I was like, oh my God, this feels like a whole new car. Everything with the shifting, it feels much more solid. Everything goes into gear much easier. It's nice, it's nice. So I'm really looking forward to getting back in there later this week. We're gonna do that oil pan gasket and then we'll have the track pipes on the car. We got the M50 manifold. We're gonna be doing some other things along with like the Nick G tune. If you guys don't know who Nick G is, he's like one of the goats in the BMW tuning community, but he does a lot of work on like the older BMWs. So he's gonna be tuning this car. He'll be tuning it NA, and then he'll also be tuning it after we boost it, which will be really cool. So right now the clutch is brand new. We have to break it in for about 300 miles, so it's not like we can go crazy on it. But I did want to just kind of wrap up this video with you guys and kind of show you the car and show you me driving it and show you that everything worked out and kind of talk about, you know, my thoughts with the clutch and everything. So aside from that, we just got to fix the oil pan gasket, and then this thing will be leak free. Looking forward to that as well, man. It's just one step closer. You know, when you have a car like this, like an E36, which is very much so a project car, it takes time. You kind of just find yourself doing upgrades and modifications while you can. This is one of those things where it's kind of like a forever project, you know? You're never really like done with the car. It's gonna take you time and probably years to get it to the point where you really want it to be. So whenever I have the time and, you know, a little extra cash to throw at it, that's kind of when I decide to tackle the project a little bit more. But it's a nice change of pace having a car like this in the garage, because for me personally, I just get caught up in these newer cars and doing these modifications and these videos, and it's nice to be able to step away from that and do something a little more like project oriented. The E36 videos never really do quite amazingly well, but I just enjoy the E36 in general more. So it's cool to be able to have this car in the garage and just work at it at my leisure, you know, whenever I sort of want to. Smooth, man, all the way through. I really do prefer the OEM trans mounts over those poly mounts that I got from Turner. It just feels, it's just not as harsh. It just feels a lot, it feels a lot better, a little more forgiving, you know? This thing drives so well though, you guys. It's such a well-balanced car. I think I'm gonna do some sort of big brake kit on this car. Nothing too crazy, just something a little bit nicer. I'm also thinking of changing up the wheels from the arcades. I like the look, but kind of over it. I want to do something a little different. This thing's gonna sound really good with the track pipe. Gets rid of all the cats. It's gonna liven this thing up a little bit. I feel like then we're really gonna be able to hear the AFE exhaust system, because that center section, man, it's like so restrictive. It's tiny piping, catalytic converters. Get rid of all of it. Let's liven this thing up. Let's make her rip. And then we'll get that turbo installed, man. Then we'll do the turbo kit on this thing. Woo! Terrible. Fucking idiot. Really, really smooth, man. What a unit. What a unit. God, I love this thing. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you are looking for a clutch for your E36, highly recommend checking out the DKM twin disc clutch. This is one of many things that we had needed to check off of the list in order to get this thing ready for some more power, but we are for sure going to be turbocharging this car, and it's going to be a lot of fun. If you guys need any work done on your BMWs, service, performance, dyno tuning, hit up CES Motorsport. Big shout out to all those guys over there for helping out. But just like that, we're gonna wrap this video up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Love you. See you in the next one. Peace.